Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the MORE Deals Mastermind. I'm your host, Robert Weichelt, along with my co-host, Kathy Ryan. Super excited to be here today. We've got a great show for you. We meet every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, by going to moredealsmastermind.com. Today's topic, residential agents, listen up. The commercial broker referral network. It's going to be huge. It's a great opportunity to expand what you're already doing in the business. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to get right to it because we've got a great guest. Super excited. Dusty, how are you doing today, my friend?
Doing excellent. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. And Kathy Ryan, welcome back from
Thank you.
your knee thing. I'm super excited to have you on. It's just not the same without you, and I'm very, very stoked. So let's get right into it. Our special guest today, Dusty Bates, a commercial specialist, is going to go into how his commercial broker referral network works, how it helps agents grow. It's just some great stuff to go on. But first, before we do that, Dusty, why don't we tell the audience, who's Dusty Bates?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm a commercial real estate broker. I've been in commercial real estate for over 16 years myself. I've closed in 21 states at this point. And my specialty is helping multifamily owners trade into properties like net lease properties like Taco Bell or Starbucks. That's what I do most of. But I've done plenty of other things like vineyards and storage and warehouse as well.
I love it. I love it. So let's do this. Let's just dive right into, I guess, what's our opening message before we get started? What's our opening message for the folks that are tuning in at home, they're in their car, or even on this call live? What's our message to them before we get started?
Yeah. So, but my thought is, and I've been doing this, most of my deals have come from residential agents over the years.
Mhm.
And it's by talking to them about how you can use your own existing sphere of influence to do commercial without learning anything new or doing anything new. You can just keep doing what you're doing, and you can add commercial to your book of business if you just learn a couple new things.
I like that. I tell you what, anytime I can maximize what I'm already doing, I'm all about that. But I'll turn it over to you. You've got controls. Take it over, Dusty Bates.
Sure. All right. So let's see if I can share my screen here. Let's see.
And while he's doing that, guys, just go ahead and put your information in the chat box. We'll do a Q&A towards the end, but I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be great because I run across a lot of commercial transactions, and I sometimes I just don't even deal with it, but I can't wait to hear what you have to say today.
Making sure my controls aren't on there. Yeah. So like I said, this is a conversation I've had quite a bit. I used to have it back to 2014 is when I first started having this conversation at team meetings. And it's to show you how you can add commercial to your book of business without doing anything new. Just keep doing everything the same way, and you can add commercial on and make yourself look like a superstar to your clients. And we're going to learn three things. Three key things that I think you need to know as a residential agent. You already have commercial activity in your sphere of influence right now. It's happening right now, whether you know it or not, and it's going to be happening with or without you. And the key is you have to recognize it when it's happening. You have to keep an ear out for it. And then you need to know how to refer it properly. You need to know how to make sure you get paid too. And so I'm going to teach you how to identify the actual commercial activity in your sphere of influence right now and how to make sure you refer it to someone who is qualified and who's going to make you look good, and then how to get paid from that as well. All right. So going from where you should start to where you should end. We're going to identify how to find a commercial professional that you should work with wherever you're at and in whatever property type you're in or you should be in. We're going to find out what a good referral is versus a bad referral. So a lot of times I've had residential agents come up to me very excited about a commercial deal, and it's one that's going to take a lot of time, and it's probably not going to come to fruition. And we need to identify what's going to get you paid the most with the least amount of effort, ideally. And so that's what we'll look at there. And then we're going to find out how to hand that client off and that deal off in a way that's actually going to make you the most money and make it the most successful that you can. All right. We've already went over this. I'm Dusty. I've been In commercial over 16 years, I have the commercial referral network, which we spoke about in all 50 states. We help residential agents trade from refer residential over to commercial. Now, you don't have to use the commercial referral network. I'm going to show you how to do this on your own. If you do want to work with us, we can do a one-on-one call to see if it's a good fit. That would be the next step after this. But I'm going to teach you today how to do that without having to involve us if you felt like it. I've closed in over 20 states. I focus on 10-to-1 exchanges, usually, like I said, trading from multifamily into what's called QSR, or quick serve restaurant, which is like fast food. And that's my favorite to go into. I've sold vineyards and warehouse, self-storage, retail shopping centers, development, all kinds of stuff. A lot of commercial agents will focus on one thing and will expand into other things. All right, so as a residential agent, if you're not referring commercial, you're probably leaving 5 or possibly 6 figures on the table every single year in commissions that you don't have to learn anything new or do anything new for it. They're just sitting there waiting for you to refer it. So we need to find out how to do that and access that money, right? That's an extra revenue stream that you guys don't possibly use right now. Like I said, commercial transactions are happening right now in your sphere of influence. And the key is that you actually, because you already know these people, they know, like, and trust you, you have something that I don't. I don't have access to your sphere. I don't know what they're talking about, their investment property, or that they need a tax shelter, or that they need to find some development land. I have to do cold calls, right? So you, as an agent who's already doing business, helping them buy houses, sell houses, you already have that relationship that's huge. And so you need to leverage that and partner with a commercial agent so you can hand them off, because they are already doing commercial business with or without you. Right? Excuse me. So first thing we're going to do, we need to find our commercial broker. Right? Remember, we're doing 3 things. We're finding the right commercial broker. We're going to find out what a good deal is or a bad deal. And then we're going to find out how to refer that over properly so you can get paid. And the first thing we need to do is find the right commercial broker. Now, in commercial, we have what's called the 5 major food groups, right? These are the 5 types of property in commercial. That's industrial, office, retail, multifamily, and agriculture. And there's others as well. Each of those property types has a bunch of subtypes, right? So industrial, you might have warehouse, you might have flex space. Multifamily, low, mid, high rise, mobile home, 55 and over community. There's all kinds of different subtypes in there too. What you need to do is identify what your sphere of influence probably needs. And most likely you know a lot of multifamily or rental owners, people who possibly have portfolios of rentals. You might have business owners who might need more space. So find out, first thing, identify what type of property you want to look for. Business owner, right? So is it multifamily owners, or is it business owners who need more space, new locations? Okay, because as a commercial agent, we usually have a specialty, like mine's multifamily. You need to find the right kind of commercial broker. Once you find out what you need, you can go to one of these 3 sites. It's LoopNet or Crexi. Those have a free account that you can create. This is what our commercial MLS is. It's on LoopNet or Crexi would be the main 2. And you can create a free account. Okay, so if you want to look for the commercial brokers, go to our MLS, which is those 2 sites. Search for your property type in your area. And what you'll find is there's maybe a handful of people that transact that type of property. Right, so in downtown Sacramento, there's one broker who does multifamily up to 50 units. So I know who to call if I have that. And when you find that, you're going to find out who the rainmakers are, and you're just going to look at the listing. And what you're going to see on those listings on LoopNet, on Crexi, is there's maybe 2 or 3 agents on there. And the instinct is to call that first agent on the listing. And you don't want to call that agent, because that's the rainmaker. That's the person who doesn't have time to take your call. You want to call the junior agents. Okay, so that 2nd or 3rd agent down on that listing that's selling all those multifamily properties in your city, that's who you call. They're called a junior agent. And you have a very simple conversation with them. You say, look, I've been doing residential for this amount of years. I've got clients who need to buy and sell multifamily. I don't do multifamily. I need someone who can receive these referrals and make sure they pick up on a call. Can I partner with you? Something simple like that. Most likely they're going to say yes, or they're going to ask you some simple questions. But you've got the inventory that they need. So they want to partner with you. One thing you want to make sure is important that you clarify with them. You're not trying to be a commercial expert. You're not trying, you might be trying to learn it, but you're not trying to partner with them on it. You're trying to refer it over to them. Okay. And you'll have some sort of agreement with them. They'll say, yeah, I'll pay you 20%, 25%. Say, cool. Send a quick email about that, confirming that in writing. And then you're only going to have a formal referral agreement once you have an actual client to refer out. Okay. Right now, you're just establishing that you have a resource, you have another tool in your toolbox. When you need to talk about multifamily, you can call them right in front of your client and have that conversation. Because that's really powerful. When you're sitting down, yeah.
Yeah, let's recap. So basically what we're doing at this point is we're just trying to find a referral partner through the network and through the different avenues like LoopNet, correct? Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so there's two different ways. I'm teaching you how to do this on your own. If you want to be within our commercial referral network,
Okay.
The next step for us would be to get on a one-on-one call and just see if it's a good fit.
Okay.
That's the next call. So
Okay.
you guys have a link that'll go in the chat where you can set up a call with us. We can see if it'd be a good fit. And if so, then we actually get you access to the referral network, which I'll show you what that looks like later on.
Okay, great.
But if you wanted to do this on your own, go to LoopNet, go to Crexy, find who's selling all the property in your area, and give the second or third agent a call and just have a conversation.
Okay, perfect. All right, just wanted to clarify. All right.
Yeah, let me know if there's any questions. Feel free, jump in. Yeah, so only a formal referral agreement. Once you establish that, here's a big warning. A lot of times, I've had agents ask me to partner up with them. I've got a story later on about how that blew up when they tried to partner up with me and learn the commercial. Oftentimes that creates more work and friction than helping. So if you would like to learn commercial, sometimes I'll let someone shadow me. Oftentimes it's better and it's more productive just to hand that off to the other person and then continue, working on your business, right? Let the commercial broker do all the work and make you look good. And then you can just collect a referral fee at the end of the day, which is where you make your most money. Okay. So finding a commercial broker, do we have any questions there? How we find our commercial broker?
No, I think that's a great tool.
Yep, that's the first thing you do. And again, our MLS and commercial, go to LoopNet or go to Crexy, create a free account and go searching for your commercial broker to partner with and then have a conversation. All right. So the second thing we'll talk about is what is a good deal versus a bad deal. Okay. I'm going to show you two examples of real referrals that I've received, that I've closed, and you can decide which one is a good deal and which one is not as good of a deal. Which one would you prefer to be a part of? And then we'll go over red flags and green flags, things that you should pay attention to that are going to be good deal indicators versus difficult deal indicators. All right. So example number one, the sixplex here in Sacramento. I had a client, I sold his apartment some years ago. He had his dad who had a sixplex. He didn't want to be involved. He wanted, arm's length. So he involved me. I agreed to give him a referral fee. Took about 15 minutes to hand me off to dad, right? 15-minute phone call. I listed it and I sold it. Right? Now, for his time, for his 15 minutes, he received a $6,000 referral fee for 15 minutes of effort. I did all the work. There's a bunch of marketing that goes into it. I've got all the tools. He got paid 6,000 for 15 minutes of effort. That, if you were to look at that as an hourly rate, you made $24,000 an hour equivalent, right? And just to show the leverage of just handing off a commercial lead. He knew they had need. All he did was hand them off.
That's
Right.
awesome. That is awesome.
That's a good deal, right?
Yeah, that's very awesome.
How about this deal? Mobile home park across the country in North Carolina. This one actually was before the referral network was in place the way it is now. This is an agent within my brokerage found me across the country. He liked what my resume said, so he called me. His friends wanted to value the mobile home park. They didn't even want to sell it yet. So he had the same thing, about a 15-minute call. Great guys. I valued it, and then they decided to list it. We listed it, and we sold it at a record high price. And they were very happy. How much do you think he made per hour?
Wow, look at that.
Yeah. So that was he received a referral fee. That's not the whole commission. That was the referral fee that he received.
16,000 an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was
Awesome.
yeah, 6 figures. So that's pretty high. I have done that a couple other times in my career, but it's not very often that high. But that's an example of he had the inventory. I would have no access to that, but he handed it off to a commercial agent. I did all the work, and he just collected a referral fee. I would want to be example 2. Bear with me. So how do we identify which one's the mobile home park and which one's the sixplex? Right? We're going to want to screen all of the deals as they come in. You don't have to underwrite everything. You just have to know what to look for that's going to indicate it's probably a good deal or it might be not so good of a deal. Right? So green flag indicators, higher quality leads, probably. If they own one of those 5 property types, right? Industrial, office, retail, multifamily, agriculture. If they own one of those, that's a good sign, right? Obviously, more units is better. 6 units is not as good as 50 or 70 units. If they mention their rentals or apartments, the things that they own like that, keep an ear out for that, right? If they own these things. Even multiple rentals, right? A lot of you probably have investors who own, many multiple rental properties, and they're always looking to buy. I bet you're wondering, how can I get them to sell their 20 rental houses, right? What would that look like to you if you had a client who wanted to sell 20 rental houses? Well,
They look amazing.
this is where you hook up with your multifamily broker, who's going to take their 20 rental properties and they're going to show them, here's how much net income you're making today with your 20 rentals and all those roofs and all those headaches.
Okay.
And here's what you could trade into, right? And I would recommend that QSR fast food and what the 20-year lease that you're going to go into would look like. And here's your income there. So for California, the income's usually going to be higher and they're going to have virtually nothing to do as a landlord. When people tend to get older and want to retire, that's one of the main questions I get is, what am I going to do? Am I going to sell all these houses? Or am I going to pay taxes? What am I going to do? And I've got solutions for that as a commercial broker. So when that happens, the residential agent lists them in batches, and then we exchange into the commercial property, and they get a referral fee on top of that. So you have rental property owners. That would be another reason to reach out to a commercial property broker. Right? Businesses too. Leasing is as lucrative, if not more lucrative and quicker than sales in commercial, right? Leases, I just signed 2 leases for 10 years each that were worth almost 6 figures, right? And there's no escrow either with leasing, right? So you just give them an invoice, they pay you. So if it's a business owner, they're expanding, they need more space, they need more inventory, that's a big deal too. And also if they have a lease coming due, renegotiating leases, that you get paid on that too. So you can say, hey, I've got a great broker, let me call them and connect you with them, and you get paid a referral fee for that. Couple others. Yeah, if also selling business opportunities. My brokerage has a big business opportunity, or what is it? Group, I guess I'd say. You can make a lot of money selling businesses. And so you have a business broker that you would talk to if they're getting near retirement. All they need to do is value their business. And then a lot of times that leads into other things too. But they're probably wondering what their business is worth. Yeah. Also, if they need income tax shelters, be careful with that. You don't want to give out tax advice, but there's a lot of vehicles within investment real estate and commercial real estate where you can shelter taxes. Okay, so those are any questions or anything else on kind of high quality or good indicators?
Why don't we go ahead and open up the mics real quick and ask any questions up to this point, guys, if you have any.
Hey, Justin, really quick
Go ahead.
on that, on the leasing part of the business. So how do commercial agents get paid twice on those type of deals? Or multiple times, I should say.
Yeah, typically you get paid once the lease is signed, you get half, and then you get half once the tenant opens for business. There's usually a lot of work or some work that has to be done to the space. So they sign a lease, they do the work, then they open for business, and you get paid the second half. There's another. I was going to say there's another way to get paid too. Once that lease is over and they can exercise an option or renegotiate, that's again where you can get paid too as an agent. So you can get paid 3 times as a referral for me.
Any other questions before Dusty keeps moving on? This is the epitome of MORE Deals Mastermind for sure. You're the poster child. So yeah, keep on trucking. Let's keep rocking.
So I'm sorry, quick question.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Blanca.
So do you work in Arizona? Do you have a nationwide network, or are you just in California?
I do. So my network, my commercial, the brokerage I'm with has commercial agents in every single state.
Okay. Do
And with most
you
types.
do like commercial land deals?
Yeah, we do that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Right on. All right, let's keep on trucking.
All right. So those are good indicators. Oftentimes I have excited agents bring me deals that are probably going to take a lot more time and more effort. So if you've got a couple of these, a startup business, very small operator strapped for cash. So kind of a rule of thumb, if someone's talking to you about their business, ask them what their EBITDA is, or ask them what probably their gross sales might be best. And if it's in excess of $1 million or $2 million, then you can start to have that conversation. If it's less than $1 million in gross sales, it's probably not going to be much very worth it, I'd say. So that would be a kind of a good rule of thumb to do there. Tenants looking for small leases. If you've got someone who wants to open a salon shop or something in 500 square feet, that's not going to pay much of anything. And it can be difficult to represent that tenant. Oftentimes I would just refer them out to the leasing agent at a property instead. And I've done that plenty of times too. If it's a buyer trying to acquire their first multifamily property, make sure they have enough capital to make that happen, or they're pre-qualified, right? And then if they have a real need to research, and I had a client just recently, a couple months ago, who wanted to see, I think we showed him like 15 or 17 different locations. He had a homeschool kind of situation going on, and he didn't close on anything. So I ended up, nothing was good enough for him, and we ended up having to let him go. So if they're overly critical of everything and they don't really know what they want, that can be difficult. Have you ever had someone say, hey, I want to buy an investment property, and you're like, well, what would you like? And they say, bring me a good deal. What does that mean? So, yeah. I think that was it for those. Yeah, so that would just kind of give you an idea of what might be a good deal versus a bad deal. Something you might want to keep in mind. Of your sphere of influence, most of them have something to do with commercial, right? Think about everyone in your sphere. You've got investors, you've got people who are decision makers at businesses, if not business owners, right? When they need new space, when they need to renegotiate the lease, when they need to buy their building or sell their building, they need a commercial broker. And you've been selling them houses for 15 years. So when they need to sell that business or when they need to expand that business, you need to have a commercial broker ready to hand them so you can get paid. High net worth individuals, you've got investors, and then, you know, of the people that you deal with, how many are minimum wage employees, right? Most of them, because they're buying houses, they're probably going to be one of these other categories. So just keep that in mind. You've got most of your sphere is probably has something to do with commercial. Yeah, this was, we already talked about this. This is kind of like the reasons they might need commercial, right? For tax needs, you know, leasing, inventory needs, investment requirements that they have. They've got capital. A lot of times an investor will have capital that they have to place because it's just sitting on the sidelines. They don't want that. They need it engaged in something. Oh, we already spoke about that. Okay. So that's a good deal versus bad deal. How do we hand that off to a commercial broker? Well, if you're not part of my network, very simply do a phone call, introduction, some sort of three-way introduction to the client, make them look like the expert, introduce them as the expert, do a full handoff. Don't play phone tag. Don't try to be in the middle. Because the commercial broker can set the expectations with the client. They can help manage their expectations and help them move along the process with commercial. If you try and stay in the middle of it, it can make it very difficult for everyone involved, and you can start to have a commercial broker that starts to call you back less and less if you're making it difficult for them to do their job. So just make sure you make them the expert, hand them off. A lot of times the client will circle back to you with questions. Try and direct them back to the commercial broker, because that does happen quite a bit. It's because you've got a great relationship with them. They're curious what you think. Sorry about that. Speaking of, here's an example. Okay, fully hand off that client because here's an example. This is a warehouse in El Dorado Hills, flex warehouse space. Another contact in my brokerage found me. He really wanted to be part of the deal. And I thought, you know what? It's in El Dorado Hills. I'm far away. As long as you can show the property, I'll let you participate. As the listing was signed, the client found the buyer. And the client was going to owner finance the deal. So there was going to be, 30-day or less escrow on the deal. Excuse me. But here's the problem. The agent never handed it off to me. I was playing telephone the whole time. The buyer and the seller negotiated together and were constantly in flux, couldn't decide what they wanted. And I think I rewrote that contract 3 or 4, maybe 5 times. And eventually they landed on something. I sent them a revised contract. I said, I'm going out of town. I have to go out of town. And I did. They decided again that they had some other minor change they wanted, and then got really mad that I wasn't available to change it again. And I couldn't talk to this client. I couldn't manage their expectations. I was playing telephone tag the whole time. So what ended up happening is it all fell apart, and we decided not to do the listing. I don't know if they've closed it or not. They could still be just figuring things out, but it fell apart because I didn't get the handoff I was supposed to. So just make sure when you do the handoff, do it all the way. And then if they come back to you, try and direct them back to the commercial broker.
Yeah, and you know what, Dusty, that seems like it would be kind of common sense, but it's probably not. Just like in residential, if I'm handing off say a seller in Alabama, and that seller keeps calling me, it's defeating the purpose. If you hand it off, make a clean handoff, and keep me posted. If you have any questions, go to that in particular person. So that's some common sense thing that's probably overlooked.
Yep. And it's you're just trying to help too, right? They'll call you back, they have good questions. So just make sure you try and help the commercial broker out by handing that back off. So that is the main bit of this. And then I'll talk about the commercial referral network and how that works. Okay, so just to recap, establish a relationship with a commercial broker that will hand off deals back to you when it's a residential. Listen for those commercial needs, right? Those green flags, and then identify them and deliver a warm handoff. From there, just step back and then make sure once you do that handoff, that's when you're signing that referral agreement, right? You got a client who has an interest, you've identified them as a good deal, you're going to hand that off with a referral fee agreement to the commercial broker. Make sure you direct them back over to them. And then, yeah. Any questions on that?
That quote was awesome by Ronald Reagan. Questions, guys. Surround yourself with great people. Delegate authority. I love it. So who's got some questions for Dusty on this first portion of what we went over? Anybody? Go ahead and open up your mic.
Hey, Dusty, I know before, when I talked to you before regarding, I had some clients that were looking for retail space, and I used to just call the number that was on the face of the building, and you taught me one big thing, that's the rainmaker. He's never going to return my call. So as far as being able to get in contact with people on that commercial agent's team, his juniors or her juniors underneath, how will we make contact with those people?
Yeah, so when you're looking at listings on our commercial MLS, again, that is going to be LoopNet, and CrackSeat would be where you can just get a free account and start searching. You're going to see that there's a handful of people that do the type of inventory you're looking for, multifamily or industrial or whatever. The first person's the rainmaker. The second or third one, both of those are going to be the juniors that are handling most of the inbound leads. So when you've called a commercial listing and you don't get a call back, that's because you're calling that first number. Right? And sometimes they're good about doing the call back, sometimes they're not. If you're not using the right language and keywords, they might be less likely to call you back. So yeah, call those juniors. The second or third one down would be where it's at.
Excellent. All right.
So that's how to do it manually. That's the talk that I've given people since 2014. Spend 15 minutes, do a handoff, make $20,000 or more an hour equivalent, and then look like a hero to your client, right? Because they're already having a need for it. Go ahead and refer them out. Now, if you want to step it up a notch, like I said, we have got the commercial referral network. It's national. We have all product types covered. And if you'd like to work with us instead of doing that manually, you can set up a call with us, a one-on-one call. I think they'll have a link for that to set that up, and we'll see if it's a good fit at that point. What it is we've actually got a library of lead magnets, right? So training and resources and stuff that commercial owners would like to see. And we've got links to all of these. And if you set up an account with us, if we do the call and it's a good fit, then we'll give you an account where you have access to all of these lead magnets, and they have a special link to each of those that's directed toward you. So you sign up, you share these lead magnets, 1031 exchange training, for example. Anyone who signs up is tagged to you, and it goes into a dashboard where you can see every single person that you've shared that with, who's signed up and where they're at in the process. If they're just a new lead, if we've spoken to them, if we've done a proposal, or if it's a listing, or if it's an escrow or closed. And once it closes, you get a referral fee from us. So you share your links, you track every lead, and then you get paid at the end.
And Dusty, I put in a link that you shared with me the other day. If you can just confirm that that's the right one when we're finished here. That's the just get on your calendar.
Yeah, it should go directly to our calendar.
Hey, Dusty, it's Mike Shemansky. I just signed up for a call next Wednesday.
Perfect.
So, as we've been anticipating the REO market more next year, so much kind of it's taking shape this year. Are you seeing the same in the commercial side? I mean, that's what I'm hearing. The commercials going to have its fair share of REOs as well. Are you guys positioned for that too?
We can handle that as well. What I've seen on the commercial side, they tend to get resolved more often than the residential side before it becomes an REO. Or the one that takes it back. But they are, the last downturn was when I was first starting, and so I was actually looking at that as well, and it was a lot lower volume than I was hoping for
Okay.
in the last downturn. But yeah,
Yeah.
we can handle that as well. We've got people on our team who do REOs quite often.
Yeah, I like the idea of positioning myself for investors, 1031, multifamily, that sort of thing. I do have a client in my book of business that owns commercial buildings, like
Okay.
yeah, for manufacturing sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah,
reach out to her.
Yeah, I just had someone I was working with who had to do underwriting for not just the manufacturing building, but the business, and then they ended up doing they did a lease for the business, and then they're working on selling the business, and then they're also going to sell the building, so they're going to get paid 3 times on one warehouse.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So here's what these look like.
Thanks.
These are just examples of the leases or the links. Different training. So like for example, net lease assets. I get the same questions every single time. Multifamily owner sells their building. We turned it into an ebook that's a 15-minute read. You just share that. Anyone who signs up gets on your dashboard and you get to track it. And all you did was share a helpful information with someone. So we've got a whole library of these things that commercial brokers or commercial owners want to see, and we're constantly updating it. I'm having an interview in a couple of weeks with someone who owns and manages and builds and develops, sober living houses. And I guess that's a really good way to make money for rental owners. And so there's a big curiosity about how do I get involved with that? So we're going to have a training on that where you can just share that link with someone, and now your investor knows how to do that. And they're in the system. And if they want to learn more, then they raise their hand and you see them move along the process on your dashboard.
Mhm. Wow, that's good. Also, the silver tsunami, a bunch of seniors are turning 65 every day, like 10,000. And there's going to be a need for senior assisted living as well.
Yep, I haven't done that training yet, but I have someone he just retired, but he was a broker who that's all he did was senior living facilities. Oh.
Love it.
What else? I don't know that I had much else on top of that. I figured we would answer
Hey,
questions.
Dusty, if you can go back to that next slide, I want to make sure everyone's clear that these links are going to be affiliated with yourself, but kind of familiarize yourself with different acronyms and all that stuff, like the triple net lease, the DSTs, know what those mean and all that good stuff before you start pushing the stuff out. So I really book an appointment with Dusty to kind of make sure you understand all these links and what they mean and what they're supposed to push out, who you're supposed to push it out to, what audience.
Yeah, so part of that's a good see, I don't think about that. Part of this is each of these is going to have a little mini training on what it is and who should benefit from it, right? So within the network, there's a community, almost looks like a Facebook group, and there's a learning tab. So you click on the learning tab and you can look at all these different links, and it's not the training themselves, it's who needs to see the training and who you should share it with, right? So if you're not familiar with, depreciation or cost segregation, you don't have to learn all about it, but you need to learn who needs to see it, basically. All right. So if you want to work with us, the next step would be click that link and sign up for a one-on-one, and we'll see if it's a good fit. If it is, we sign a kind of a blanket referral fee agreement because there's no one specific, but we sign a blanket agreement that says, yes, we're going to give you a referral fee if anything closes from your links. And not just that, you can actually one-on-one refer a client, right? You can just enter their information in and send them to us, and we can give them a call if you guys think that's a good fit. We'll train you on how the login works, how the links work, how to share them. And then you just monitor your dashboard and share the links. And once we reach a point where we've spoken to the client, we've identified it's a deal, that's when we sign a firm referral agreement with that specific client. And then you wait to close. And that's it.
Well, this has been fantastic. I want to go ahead and Dusty, if now's a good time to maybe open it up for a little questions. I do have a couple of my own, but let's open it up to any questions for Dusty. What other questions do we have for Dusty? Well, I can ask you mine. I'll dive right in. I'm not shy. Let's go ahead and stop sharing your screen and we can just have anything else to share with us, Dusty?
No, that's it.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and stop sharing and let's have a little conversation. We'll get Kathy back in tune here. We'll go ahead and get that. The guys, was that great or what? I mean, that was awesome. That was really good. Kathy, let's go to you first. What questions do you have for Dusty?
I don't really have any questions. I mean, Dusty and I have talked before.
Yeah,
We had that deal that went nowhere in Las Vegas.
that happens. Yeah.
For the Walgreens store, but
Give it a good college try though.
yeah, it was.
That was a good deal though. That was a good one that you should refer over.
You got to start somewhere. I think I love it. Go ahead, Kathy.
Well, just like your lender, your title company, your escrow company, Dusty is a great affiliate to have in your arsenal. We talk about all the tools that we have, as a residential agent, your cash offers, your 14-day offers, that type of thing. Adding Dusty to this, because how many times, I mean, I've been in the business over 30 years. I can't tell you how many times that I have run into commercials, opportunities and had no one to pass it off to. And I'm not doing it. I got too much on my plate for residential, but now I have Dusty and I can pass it off to him. So great opportunity. I would make an appointment with him and just, talk to him more about how you can get more deals with using Dusty.
Amen. I love it. So Kathy, thank you. Any other questions for Dusty? Because I have a couple of my own, but I don't want to be the hog. I don't want to hog all the place.
Just one more question, Dusty. If like for residential agents that are curious about getting into commercial, period, what is a good pathway for them to go?
If you want to get into commercial, are you referring to the schools? Okay, yeah. Well, I also have a training way back when we were doing this, even back as 2014, we would do live training, teaching residential agents how to get into commercial. I liken it to a high school diploma. There's plenty of training out there that's like university level commercial training, but how do you get into commercial? And so we developed a whole series of classes called the Foundation Essentials that go from introduction to commercial real estate to multifamily, retail, office, industrial, and then lead generation and marketing. And it's a package, and it's a same thing like the network. It's a community where you can get trained on that. You can ask me questions. I have office hours every Friday. I've actually helped a gentleman who just joined my brokerage actually, but he was before then, he closed his first commercial transaction through just coming to my office hours on Fridays. And it was a $14 million warehouse deal, this very first commercial deal. And I was able to coach them through it by just, 1 hour every Friday, coaching them through it. It was great. So you can go to, I would go to straighttalkacademy.com or .net, sorry.
Got it.
That's it.
I love it. Any other questions, guys? Because I've got a couple. I don't want to be a hog. What other questions do we have for Dusty? Okay, here's the question I have, and I know you covered it a little bit, but the biggest mistake residential agents are making when they encounter a commercial opportunity, what are some of the mistakes they're making that we can maybe help them avoid those pitfalls?
The biggest mistake I see is them trying to do it themselves. try and do trial by fire.
Yeah,
I've seen that. Everyone's spinning their wheels. They spend a lot of time on it, a lot of effort. They learn a whole lot, and then it doesn't go anywhere, or the client gets upset, or something goes sideways. And maybe there's some issues there too. But yeah, trying to do it yourself is probably the biggest one. The second biggest one is trying to partner with a commercial broker and work with them on the deal, trying to do the listing with them.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a problem. It's like, get out of my way, you're dragging me down. Well, listen, so here's another question I have. What's the biggest commercial opportunity residential agents are overlooking right now, in your opinion? Like, give us a couple of examples of, like, is it a single family, like multifamily units, or what are some of the things they're overlooking in today's market?
I think it's the business owners that they know, and the business decision makers that they know. Like, you're not thinking about the leasing side of things, but they always have leasing needs. And in the rental property owners, you know, so many people who have a bunch of rental properties, and the opportunity to do, you know, what I do, where I say, here's what you're making right now as a whole portfolio. I don't think you've ever done that. And here's what you could be making. And the difference between, we call it stacking returns, the difference between how they could redeploy their equity versus what they think their investment return is huge. Say they paid $1 million for this package way back when, and they're making $100,000 a year. Well, that's 10%. I'm thinking a 10% return on my $1 million, right? Well, it's not worth $1 million right now. It's worth $5 million. So you're actually making closer to 2% on your equity. So I'm talking to a commercial agent about helping them get their head around how to redeploy their equity in a way that makes them more money is going to get you a lot more listings.
I love it. I just have one last question. Kathy, go ahead.
Dusty, are you seeing a lot of baby boomers because they're retiring, they're selling their businesses, they're selling off their portfolios and all of that? I know we have had trainings on the silver tsunami. Are you seeing the effects of that as well?
I don't know if this has been different before, but a majority of what I do with multifamily is people wondering what they're going to do. They don't want to leave like a headache investment that they've learned how to deal with for 20 or 30 years to their heirs or their spouses. And it's a big question, like, do I pay taxes or what do I do? And some of them don't even know about 1031 exchange or the other vehicles that you can, you know, defer taxes with. And yeah, it's huge. And helping them answer that question is very beneficial. But yeah, I get that question a lot.
So there's an opportunity there for us as residential agents, because if you are marketing towards the mom and pop investor, chances are they have other investments as well. So there's opportunity there. You know, the 1031 exchange is a good tax deferment tool, and refer them to Dusty. That's awesome.
I love it.
Tired landlords.
This is a great session, guys. Great session. Yeah, a lot of tired landlords out there. I can tell you that. I talk to them all the day long. The last question I have, Dusty, while we wrap this up, is if you could give every residential agent one piece of advice to earn more commercial referral income, what would it be?
One piece of advice?
Yeah, one piece of advice, kind of closing remarks.
Keep an ear out for those green flags as you're just do everything the way you're doing it. Just keep an ear out for opportunities to refer business, because there's a lot more than you think is out there. If you ever had someone say, hey, you see all the yellow Jeeps around town, and you say no, and then all of a sudden you're seeing yellow Jeeps everywhere.
Reticular activators.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, that's great. Great advice. Kathy, any closing remarks that we'd like to say to everybody before we get wrapped up here? Again,
Get with Dusty, build that relationship. We need him in our arsenal.
Yeah, amen to
There's
that.
opportunity there.
I'm going to add a link to our Friday training as well. So go ahead and join us on Fridays, where we go for a really nice Q&A. We talk about the online offers platform, a lot of the tools we have. I certainly want to thank Dusty for coming in, sharing the information. We'll get this recorded. We'll get it onto our YouTube channel, our Spotify channel. I put the link in the chat box. Schedule an appointment. Thank you, Mike, for scheduling an appointment. Schedule an appointment with Dusty and see if this is something for you. But I can tell you this, like Dusty just said, once you start seeing those yellow Jeeps, you're going to start seeing some opportunities. You're going to start seeing it on Facebook and all the different social media things. You're going to start seeing it everywhere. Oh, look at all these commercial opportunities I've been missing this whole time. Look at all that money you're leaving on the table, guys. So this is the MORE Deals Mastermind, and this is what we're all about. We're about creating more opportunities for everyone we come in contact with. For my co-host, Kathy Ryan, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Bates, thank you so much for being on today. And I'll tell you what, this has been fantastic. You guys remember to join us every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Go to moredealsmastermind.com and we'll see you in escrow.